All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Cool. How are you guys?
just trying to be like you, Kike.
Hell yeah, bro, it's easy. How's everyone doing?
Doing good. How was your 4th of July?
It was good. It was
It's
very,
good to hear.
huh?
So that's good to hear.
I'm out of Mexico, so we don't celebrate 4th of July over here, but
Like Cinco de Mayo.
we hung out, you know?
That's cool. That's cool.
All right, cool. So I did want to go over like maybe like one, two things that anyone on this call can practice, you know? And obviously like the difference between like what an elite versus like the average does, right? We can like get out of the way the hard work. Like that is just something required. I'm not gonna sit on here and be like, yeah, you just gotta work harder, you know? That's already like something that's required and everyone on this call should know that. But I don't know if anyone knows this or if anyone has heard me say this before, but I'm actually 28 years old, right? So I got into this business probably like a year ago now, actually. And for the past like eight, I've been in sales for like 8 years. Eight since I was 20, 19, 20, around there, right? And I've been in sales ever since. And one thing I could say is that I work hard, like that's one thing that's always been, that has never been the issue in anything that I've done is the hard work, right? That's just kind of like a requirement. That is obviously what you have to do, work hard. But one thing that I can say that kind of made like the difference for me in a way was like the mindset. I had like a mindset shift coming into this business that definitely like shifted everything for me, right? Because in this business, I've made more money than I've ever made than in any other business, and I only see it growing from here. But one thing that I can attribute some of my success to is definitely like the way I approach the business and the mindset that I approach the business. Because a lot of the times in past businesses, like working hard simply is just like not enough. I would see people that maybe wouldn't even work as hard as me and they would still get results, more results than me, right? And one thing that I can say is like it all comes down to like the belief, right? And the belief is like something that we have to work on every single day. Like the belief is super, super important because our whole lives we're conditioned to think a certain way, and we're pretty much training our mind to think a different way. So I'll give you guys an example. Sometimes when stuff is not going all sunshine and rainbows in the business, sometimes doubt creeps in, right? All these like emotions that change our perspective slightly to how we go about the business, how we go about our day. All of that like slightly shifts, right? And coming into this business, the biggest thing that I found, or the biggest thing that I worked on, was like the belief. Like the belief of everything that I said I was gonna do actually folding out and happening. Like if you don't, like, let's say you come into the business, you're like, oh, well, let's see how this is gonna work out. Like you're already taking yourself out the game. You gotta come into the business with a belief that it is possible. Everything that you want to do is possible. And it's just a matter of time to get there, right? And it comes down, and this is where you guys can implement it in your day to day, because it is something that the same thing we work on as we work on our skill set. We hit the gym every day. All these things are obviously things that we do every day, consciously, right? And the mindset thing is something that you work on every day as well. Like the mindset is one of the most important because you have to come into it with a good perspective, and you have to come into it like, positive about what's the outcome, you know? Like when I first joined the business, I remember like sitting down, like starting my day dialing, and it was like I felt the deals were already closed. Like it was just the only thing holding me back from the goal to the start of my day was time. Like I literally believed that the outcome is just a delayed reality. Like I already knew like okay, I'm hopping on and I'm closing deals. Like that's just how it is, right? And that belief shift like changed my perspective entirely. But I'm gonna show you guys exactly like what I did to get there. So, for example, you know, I created this person, right? This reality of myself that I wanted to become. So I created this person that makes certain amount of money, has certain amount of things, like all the things that I wanted to accomplish, I created that person. And my mindset was I need to think like that person. So anytime like a seed of doubt came in or like a bad day, I would literally think, okay, would this person that I want to become be thinking this thought? Fear. Sometimes it comes in fear. When I first came into the business, spending money on leads. Like that's a have to. Like you have to spend money on leads. And sometimes it's like the fear kicks in. The fear kicks in of spending money on leads, as we start spending more. And like sometimes when that fear would kick in, I would tell myself, okay, well, the person that I want to become, this person doesn't think like that. So I can't think like that. So how am I supposed to become this person, but I'm scared to spend more money on leads? Like it's just not possible. It's just not possible to get here if this fear that I'm feeling right now or this doubt that I'm feeling right now is kicking in. Like I have to eliminate it. I have to eliminate it. And sometimes like it's just part of life. Like sometimes like doubt kicks in, fear kicks in, but you have to consciously think about it as like this feeling that I have right now is normal, but the person that I want to become doesn't react on this. Like they're still gonna spend money on leads. They're still gonna hop on the phones every single day with the positive attitude. And like literally I remember, and it's something that I still train to this day. Like sometimes when fear kicks in, I consciously think like, okay, this is fear or this is doubt. Does this person that I want to become think this way? And if the answer is no, then I shouldn't be thinking, I shouldn't be feeling that. And just doing that itself, like just thinking about the person that I wanted to become and filtering thoughts that came into my head to become this person is what got me there. Like it was like the mindset of like, okay, fuck, I'm fucking tired of getting my ass kicked in all day, dialing the phones and nothing happening, and it's like I don't want to fucking dial anymore. That thought that came into my head right now, I have to eliminate that because the person that I want to become doesn't think like that. So why am I thinking like that? If I want to become this person that, when thoughts like that come into their head, they don't even think that anymore. Why would I think that? Like why would I fucking cave into that doubt or cave into that fear if the person I want to become doesn't feel that? That's how I went about the business like when I first started. When I first started, I literally like believed that the outcome was possible. And anytime like any doubt or fear would kick in, I would remind myself, okay, this is a normal feeling, but I need to eliminate it because I need to get to this goal that I have. And to get to this goal, like this what I'm feeling right now is definitely not gonna get me there. And to this day, sometimes like they still kick in, like sometimes thinking about like the business as a whole, it's like you start making a lot of money and it's like like I remember like when I first had like 6 figures in the bank, right? For the first time ever, I had 6 figures in the bank. And I was like, for some reason, I went into like defense mode. Defense mode of like, oh shit, I can't lose this money. But the same actions and thought processes that got me to the 100K are not going to get me to the next level like if I go on defense mode. So these thoughts that I'm talking about is something that you have to work on a daily basis. Like it just doesn't go away ever because our whole lives we were programmed to think a specific way. But you got to be able to consciously eliminate the thoughts when they come in or figure out a way to eliminate those thoughts when they come in. A lot of the times for me, I would if I had a thought that obviously doubt, fear, whatever the feeling was, mad, tired, to change the state of mind, I would change the physical state. So sometimes like since I work from home, like if I was like feeling a specific type of way, I would hop on the ground and do 20 burpees. Because Tony Robbins says to change the state of mind, you got to change your physical state. So I would consciously just hop on the ground, do burpees, and then boom, this thought that I was thinking just went away. So I don't know if anyone has like any specific questions that they wanted to ask or anything like that. But honestly, like to get to the next level, not only does it require to work harder? Obviously, you have to think at the next level as well.
I got a question.
Yeah.
What's your advice for developing that thought process where you're on a higher frequency than or trying to get to?
Mm, honestly, like I like to listen to like a lot of podcasts and read, and like because sometimes like we think things like my thought process is that we think things that sometimes are like abnormal to most, but sometimes like reading or like listening to podcasts like it gets me to think like that no, I'm actually on the right path, right? So it's honestly it just comes down to like perspective, and I get a lot of perspective from reading and listening to podcasts. But obviously the training is like how can I train myself to think like that? I think it's like it comes down to like a lot of it has to do with like environment, right? Like being around the right people. Like a lot of the time, I remember when I first started, like I blocked a lot of people on Instagram like from viewing their stories because all they would post, in my opinion, was like low level frequency activities, right? So a lot of those people they would post low level frequency activities like I wouldn't want to see that because why? Like why would it help me to see that? So it all comes down to what you consume and not food wise, but a big saying that I have is what you tune into is what you turn into. So you gotta definitely watch what you listen to, you feed the brain. Anybody have any other questions?
When you were just starting out, obviously at first when you're kind of trying to retrain your mental brain, it's like you have to do these exercises every time you catch yourself thinking that bad thought. How long would you say it took you to retrain your brain to the point where obviously you're still going to have those thoughts, but they started coming in way less?
I don't even think they come in way less, honestly. I just think that, well, yes and no, right? I feel like sometimes like they'll come in and it's like maybe my willpower to get through it is like a little bit less than other days, right? But I don't think it's less. I just think it's like the way I handle a lot of it, it has to do with like my routine, honestly. Like it comes down to like routine. Like if I feel like if I'm not doing what I say I'm gonna do that day, then I know those when those thoughts kick in, that is definitely gonna be harder to fight them, right? But I don't think it's less, to be honest. I think they still kick in like every single person on this call is just consciously knowing how to handle it. But someone asked what podcast honestly like there's not like a specific podcast I listen to, but anything that has to do with like mindset or like thinking, a lot of in the past, like he hasn't came out with new podcasts, but I used to listen to like a lot of Luke Belmar's podcasts and like his way of thinking and his like his perspective on things, and it definitely shifted like the way I thought. Are some people scared to ask questions or what? I
Oh,
used
I
to be
got a,
scared. I
I got a
used to
question.
honestly, I used to be scared to ask questions too, because I don't want to ask like sometimes what I would think was like, ah, I have the answer to the question that I'm gonna ask. But everyone feel free to ask. But Joseph, you had a question?
Yeah, I got a question. So with what you know right now, if you could go back and give yourself one specific piece of advice when you first started in this industry, what would it be?
I think it played out exactly like most of it played out exactly how I thought it was gonna play out, to be honest. But to myself, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, like to myself, because I planned it out exactly how I wanted to plan it out. And I knew exactly. So I don't think I would like tell myself anything or change anything about what I did because I consciously knew coming into the business like what I wanted and I mapped out like what I need to do to get there. So I kind of already knew. I mean, the only thing I can say is like when you start when you start making 10K, 20K a month, it's like it's never enough. You always want more. Like you would think like, oh shit, I remember I used to think like, oh shit, if I had 100K, I think I'd be cool. I'd be chilling. But it's not the case. It's actually not the case at all. Like you always want more. Anybody have any other questions? I want everyone to ask a question.
I have one for you, Kike.
What's up, bro?
Hey, bro. Thanks for hopping on. Question for you. Obviously, in the beginning, when you were getting going, obviously you had sales experience. What would you say took you from 10, 20, 30, 40K a month to writing what you do now, like over 100K a month? I know you've shared a little bit about it, but I mean, what would you say are like the big indicators that switched for you? Like, oh, okay, now we're doing what we need to do.
I think the main thing is like structure. Structure is definitely gonna structure and like system that you follow is definitely gonna get you to 100 plus. Like you have to know exactly what you need to do to get to the 100 plus, and you have to structure it out exactly what you need to get there. So I think the main difference is like a lot of people they don't have structure, and that's why they're not there in the sense of like they're kind of just like breathe like working, right? They're just kind of like, oh well, I'm just gonna work and see what happens. I'm just gonna work really hard and just see what happens, you know? But honestly, like for me, the main reason I hit it was because I knew exactly what I needed to do to get to the 100,000. Like I knew exactly what needed to be done. I knew exactly the hours I needed to work, the how much money I needed to spend on leads. Like everything I knew exactly what needed to happen to get there. And like there's a bunch of 100K producers in legacy, you know, and it's like they can I don't know, map it out for you or whatever, but honestly the main thing is like knowing exactly what you need to do to get there, numbers wise, like how much you need to spend on leads, close ratio, like all that. You need to know your numbers and you have more of a chance of getting there than just like working harder, I guess. You know, I don't think working harder is gonna get anyone there. You have to map it out and give your goal clarity. Like if your goal is to hit 100K, you need to map out exactly what you need to do to get there, and you need to give yourself clarity on what you need to do because the brain needs a clear picture on what you need to get there, you know, or else you're never gonna get there. So I would say structure and clarity is definitely going to help out knowing exactly what you need to do numbers wise to get there. That's the difference. It's not, I feel like there's a lot of hard workers in here. I just feel like maybe they need a little more structure in the sense that like, okay, you need to map out exactly what needs to happen. But obviously, yeah, a lot of it has to do with skill too. Obviously, like you have to, I mean, as long as you get better every day, like you learn something new every day with skills, like you consciously know, like, okay, on this call, this is where I fucked up, this is what I need to work on and get better. Yeah, all that's important, you know?
Thanks, bro.
Who else? Anyone wants to ask a question? We need more questions up in here. Some more questions.
How many presentations do you normally get into a day? And how many do you normally close?
I would say like I probably close 40%. I probably have like a 40% close ratio. And I try to get into 3 to 5 presentations a day.
I have two questions for you, bro. So um, some people I've noticed like struggle with that belief from the beginning. It doesn't come natural to like everybody. Like what were some of the things that I know you said you mentioned like you know what you listen to is like one of the things, but like what are some of the other things that like you did to build that confidence up? Because you know like if somebody in an individual or anybody in here can get to the place where they believe that they can do anything, like they will. And then, you know, they'll figure out the what we do and the how we do. And then the second thing is like, well, just that question, then have another question after that.
The belief. So, I mean, the belief thing is like a tough one because like I can say like from my personal experiences in life, it definitely had a lot to do with what I believed, right? But I think coming into the business, I was at a moment in my life, right, where I knew I'm a very, very skilled and very hardworking individual. So I think I would start there, like work on the skills, and if you're not a hard worker, then definitely start there, and I think I was like in like coming into the business. I think the reason I believed it so hard was because I did have that structure, like I knew exactly what I needed to do to get to the goal I was trying to achieve. I knew exactly what I needed to do, and that I think that comes from like past experience. But when it comes to like, I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, because my past experience, because there's people in here that have zero past experience and they're doing really well, you know? So that's a good question. I guess I'm gonna have to think about that.
And then my next question, bro, is I remember a period of time where you and Pablo, when you guys started, you guys were kind of just like refining your process. You guys started getting chargebacks. Um, and then there's just like something that fucking like clicked for you guys. What would you say happened for you guys like where it just like fucking like click? Because I know like the leads kind of like were very slow at the beginning and you guys were figuring out the process. And then but like there was like this like kind of almost like this turning point for your business where it just like completely shot up and the persistency went up a lot too. So like and then you guys have maintained that persistency since then. So like what would you say like that turning point? What was that catalyst to that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people they come into the business and like I would say like when bad stuff happens, like they see it as like a bad thing, right? To me, when bad stuff happens, I see it as an opportunity to improve whatever's going on, you know? So like for example, chargebacks, right? That's something that a lot of people in this industry deal with. And I feel like a lot of people like they think that there's nothing that they can do but write more business, and I don't see it like that. I see it as like, okay, this is an important part of the business that I need to figure out if I want to stay in business long term. So I saw it as like, okay, this is just an opportunity for me to like figure it out to keep business on the books because obviously it's not good to write business and have it cancel. You're pretty much just gonna be like and your mindset is just like, oh well, I'm just gonna go get another one. It's like you're not thinking about it like a true business owner. A true business owner is not just like, okay, we'll write another one, and yeah, a true business owner is gonna be like, okay, this is an important part of the business. I need to figure out how to improve this because it's like a hole in the boat, right? Then it's not like it's like a hole in the boat. Instead of patching the hole, I'm just like taking out the water that's like coming in the boat, and it's like you're working twice as hard when you could just cover the patch. So definitely, I think that coming into the business, a big thing was definitely looking at it as like, okay, this is something that to be in business long term, I have to figure it out. And a lot of people don't see it that way. A lot of people see it as like, oh fuck, well, fuck, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Write more business. What is my recruiting process? Honestly, I'm not gonna cap on this one. I don't have one yet. I am gonna come up with one soon. Right now, it's kind of just like warm market type of people that reach out because they see what I'm doing. But I don't have like a specific process. I don't know if you mean like if I want to recruit someone, what is my process, or like if I have a process to attract people. Recruiting wise, I think like if I want to recruit someone into the business, I look for flaws, right, and whatever they have going on. And I kind of sell, it's kind of like the client, right? I sell them based off of what they want instead of like just like spilling to them the whole opportunity of how much they can make and this and that. It's like you figure out them first and then you pitch the opportunity based off of what you know about them, right? So for example, Phoenix, are you on this call?
Yeah, you can use me as an example for when you recruited
I
me.
recruited Phoenix, right?
That was your first recruit, bro.
I recruited Phoenix. And the way I recruited Phoenix was I knew the problems that were going on in the previous that one I already knew, right? So it's like I knew the struggles there already because I personally did health insurance. So I knew exactly what the problems were there. And I sold based off of like I pretty much sold Phoenix division based off of like the problems that the other industry had and how this solved those problems.
For sure. You didn't even tell me how much you could make, or we didn't even say any of that.
Yeah. So definitely like you have to know, I mean, if you're recruiting people that maybe if you're recruiting non-sales people, if you're recruiting salespeople, then definitely you gotta know like the downs, right? I used to knock doors. I know people don't want to knock doors in the summer at 114-degree weather. That was a selling point itself, you know? Like being completely remote to the people that would knock doors is a selling point, you know? So you got to know a little bit more about them so you can sell them a vision based off of them, you know, not based off of as a whole, like, oh yeah, you can do this and that, blah, blah, blah. If you want to be more efficient, then you sell based off of them. You recruit based off of what their problems are. So, but as let's say recruiting process, I don't have one yet. So I wouldn't tell you like, okay, this is my recruiting process to attract people. And I don't have one yet. That's something that I am working on, planning to roll out. But once it works, then I'll let you know because that's something that I'm actively working on. Any other questions? See, I want a question from Dylan, Christian. Has Christian asked a question? Gianni, and then we'll one more question, and then we'll hop off. We'll get back on the phones.
When it comes to like your systems and like writing out your goals, is it specific to business, like dials, presentations, applications, closes, or do you also like write out your like plans for the day or week, like how you live? Does that make sense? Like, is it mainly goal oriented for business, or do you like map out everything like a system for like daily life, you know?
Yeah, I do. I do. Obviously, for example, I have my goals, right? Long term, whatever, and then I literally map out, you know, what I need for those goals, and then I map it down to like a weekly basis, and I restructure it. So like, I'll write down my goals for this week. And no, I'll write down the activity for the week that needs to be done. And then like if something didn't go as planned, the next week I pivot. So like for example, like okay, I tried out this, it was like kind of shaky on this part of my day, you know, I pivot. The next week this is gonna be my schedule, you know. But yeah, so on I break it down to a weekly and daily basis, like what needs to get done, but it all goes into like the long-term vision, right? Like I did this actually like recently too, to where I mapped out like my goals for the next 2 years, like what I want to accomplish. And I broke it down to exactly what I need to get to those goals. So a lot of them, they're financial, material, a lot of them, right? But also too, I have goals that don't have to do with money. Those are mapped out as well. So, for example, like health wise, like I also have goals health wise, gym wise, all that stuff. So personal life, like what I want to learn. I have different types of goals, not only, but I break it down to like daily, weekly activity.
I like that a lot. Also, after you write it out, like, do you like review it or look at it like periodically? Because I feel like I've written down like goals before and then honestly just like look at it like not often at all. You know what I mean? Like, do you go over it like every week? Like for your weekly goals, like do you go over it like daily? Like,
Yeah. So for example, like the long-term goals, those are written down. And then the weekly ones, yeah, I look at it every day and every week on the weekend. So like I look at my schedule and I looked at, okay, this is I lacked in this part, and then the following week I restructure it so I could hit that. So I look at what I did good, what I did bad, and then I literally like, because I feel like a lot of the time, well, for me, this is something that's personally worked out for me, is that I map out everything and then I dissect it. Like, okay, this, like today I said I was going to do this. I didn't do this. Or how can tomorrow I structure my day so I actually hit, and this, like, if I didn't hit it today, I need to figure out how to hit it tomorrow? So it comes down to like daily, weekly, that I'm definitely like, this is something that has to be like super clear in your life, bro. Super, super clear. Like you can't just like write it down once and then hopefully you hit it. It's like, no, you have to constantly daily, down to like a daily basis, remind yourself and like dissect it. Like, okay, I did this, I didn't do this. How can I get this done tomorrow? How can I put myself in the position to get this done, what I didn't get done? It's like it comes down to like a daily basis, daily, weekly.
that's wow, that's super helpful. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you have to, I structure out my day like that. It has to be day by day, daily, weekly. I do a lot of weekly too. So every every Saturday when I'm done for the day on Saturday, that's when I plan my following week. And I look at, what got done, what didn't get done, what needs to get done. And that's on a daily, weekly basis, bro. And like when something doesn't get done, I figure out how to get it done. So I go, it doesn't go like another week that I said I was gonna do it, but I didn't do
Mm,
it, and it's like I consciously like, how can I get it done this week? Like for example, I'm big on like waking up. I know Marco can do this, but I can't, like waking up at 5 in the morning, right? I know I have to sleep 8 hours to be up at 5 in the morning. So I let's say I don't sleep well the night before. I look at the next day, I'm like, okay, how can I put myself in the position to knock out at a specific time so the next day I'm able to wake up with all the energy at 5 in the morning? So that's personally what I do. I literally map it out, and it's on a daily basis, weekly basis, like what needs to get done. You have to have that type of clarity, bro. Like the vision has to be super clear, and like what needs to get done has to be super clear too. Like you can't just be like, oh, 1 week and then the next week it's like, oh fuck, and then it's like, oh shit, I said I was gonna do that, I never did it. Let me map it. It's something that should be getting done every day. Bro, this is something Brian Tracy talks about, bro. Like you're statistically 40% more productive if you map out your goals and you map out your day. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, bro. Appreciate you coming on. Definitely taking your time out of your day to answer all these questions. I'd say you answered a lot for me personally.
Oh,
Um, since I'm still calling age leads, haven't closed anything yet. I'd say how long before you would like transition into start buying, you know, buying leads instead of aged. I think I've been calling them for like probably like a week or two now.
How, so are you new in the business?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Okay. Is this
Like completely new.
completely new? Your first time in sales and everything, or what?
Not first time in sales, but I'd say insurance sales.
No insurance?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, bro, like you definitely like I wouldn't hop on fresh unless you can close some age leads, you know?
Yeah.
So definitely like learn as much as you can with these, bro. And you'll know once you're ready, bro. Like there's not like oh like I would recommend. I mean, I would recommend to do it as soon as you can, but like definitely, bro, like get some practice in with these age leads, get some closes in, get your process down, like pretty much just focus on like refining a process that works with the aged. And then once you can, replicate that process on every single call, then hop on fresh. So like I would say get get as much practice, whatever you want to call it, with these aged think of it as like, okay, well, with these aged, I need to figure out how to close, right? How to have good persistency, how to have that. And once you have all that down, then hop on fresh. So, but don't think about it too much though. Like, don't think like everything has to be perfect for you to do it. Just figure out a solid process. Okay, and obviously that's just the way the business is. You're always gonna learn something new. You're always gonna get better. Just just treat it as that, bro. Like treat it as like a learning game. But once you're ready, bro, you'll know. You'll know that it's like, okay, I need to start hopping on fresh. And don't
Yeah.
don't be too scared to do it. Just do it. Just do it and have
Uh,
faith in yourself.
uh, yeah, no, I appreciate that. No, it's been I'd say every single time I get on every day I get on the phone, it's more confidence. Um, yeah, I had a few appointments or like few no-shows. So and I was talking to basically like my main upline and he was like, yeah, like it's gonna be completely different um when you start buying instead of age. So more of like this perspective since I haven't closed anything yet. That's why I was like, dude, let me just ask when I
Yeah, I
switch
mean,
over.
yeah, I mean, a lot of the times, new agents, I'm not saying this is you, bro, but a lot of new agents think that like fresh leads are fucking easier. But it's actually not the case. It's actually
Yeah,
could be a waste, like if you're not prepared. I'm not gonna say you're gonna be like, oh shoot, you're 100% prepared, like, but it is, think of it as like I would first figure out a process, get some money in your pocket, because once you hop on fresh, that's also gonna be a learning curve. Be prepared for that. Like it's not just gonna be, oh, I'm gonna hop on fresh and like the first week, second week, I'm gonna fucking start killing it. Obviously, it's a process too. So I would recommend get as much practice, experience, some money in your pocket as much as you can with aged. Obviously, the age, the only difference is like the work. It's not like it's more of a grind, obviously, but it is gonna help you. And then once you hop on fresh, just know it's not gonna be obviously like super, super easy, but definitely there's gonna be a learning curve for like another week or two. And then you're gonna start getting the hang of those too, because it is a little bit of a different approach than aged. For me, actually, like I think it is. I think it's a different approach. The way I approach an age lead is different from a fresh.
I bet, bro. I appreciate you for that advice and basically answering all these questions because you did answer a lot of questions for me just
Yeah.
prior.
Oh, show. Anybody else?
Can I ask, how do you approach aged versus fresh?
Mm, so like age leads, it's like it's more of like especially like when you're kind of like assuming the beginning a lot. For example, like the age leads, the hardest part is to push past the first, what, 30 seconds of the call and get into a presentation. That's the hardest part, you know? So like with a fresh lead, like you are a little more chill in the sense that like you're not like bulldozing them into the presentation. Well, I personally don't, right? I take a more chill approach, right? Because they just filled out the ad, so they're interested. You know, with the age lead, it's kind of like, yeah, you've been interested for a while, and then you fucking just push past it, and like you kind of just don't take no for an answer, I think, right? I think with age lead, it's either like they either buy from me or they hang up. With fresh, it's like I take a little bit more of like a chill approach. I'm not gonna be like pushing past, like if they say like, oh no, like I'm really interested, but I'm at work right now. Please call me. I'm not gonna be like, yeah, no, and then keep going, you know? But if it's an age lead, I'll definitely do that.
Thank you.
Well, sounds good, guys. Appreciate you guys hopping on the call. Let's go out there and kill it.